Falcons joint practice part 2 against the Tennessee Titans was underway today. And if you are seeing the title of this video, you are correct. There were multiple, and I mean multiple, fights between the Falcons and the Titans. Welcome in, Falcons fans, to Falcons Today by Chat Sports. I'm your new host, Trace Moustakas, but please call me Moose. And we're not talking one fight that was first reported by Mark Raimondi. No. We're talking about the second fight that was reported by Orlando Ledbetter. And it wasn't just two. Number 3 came in from Orlando Ledbetter as well. In fact, there was another tiny scuffle halfway through practice. So if you want to count it, that's 4 fights that went on during today's practice with the Tennessee Titans. And we're going to talk about it and a bunch of other stuff coming up here on today's show, including that heating up because things got chippy today. The injury bug definitely has bit the Falcons, at least in some capacity, so we're going to talk about the injuries as well. And then, of course, the offensive and defensive takeaways because, believe it or not, despite the fighting, there was actual football being played. So we're going to talk about the Falcons' takeaways on offense and defense. Before we get into that, though, here's the Aints Now host, Trace Gerard, who decided to make a little kind of at-me post on Twitter, calling me the fake Falcons host, the new Falcons host, whatever you want to call it. So you know what? I want to shut him up. It's the battle of the Traces here. Trace Moustakas on Falcons Today, Trace Gerard on Aints Now. So let's shut Trace up. Not this Trace, the other Trace. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. If we can get to 450 likes on today's show, that'll shut him up for good. All right, let's talk about it. Here's how the fight started. A.J. Terrell got burned by Calvin Ridley on a one-on-one man coverage route. Happens from time to time, but Calvin Ridley celebrated, hit the celly, emoted, if you will, in this man's face. In fact, started chirping to all of the fans that were watching. That heated things up, and everything just escalated from there. That got Terrell fired up. That got the Titans fired up. That got the rest of the Falcons fired up, to where there were multiple players on both sides getting back and forth, throwing hands back and forth. I mean, tons of really big fights. One of them delayed practice for almost 10 minutes. So you've just got some, different energies going on right now at Titans versus Falcons. And personally, I love to see fire from my players. I love it. But, and this is a very big but, be smart. Don't get carried away and don't get injured. I'm all for being chippy. I'm all for showing that you're ready for week 1 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But you've got to remember, you've got a job to do. Do not risk your health or the health of your teammates because you have a vendetta to kind of, go after. It's just not smart. But the fire, the passion, the energy, I love to see it. So who was actually fighting? Believe it or not, some very notable players that are going to be starting for the Atlanta Falcons. So Michael Penix Jr., QB1, got involved in the scrum, which probably out of this list is the guy that I'd least like to have in that. Caleb McGarry, the most recently extended Falcon, got in as well. Casey Washington, who has been reported as maybe taking Darnell Mooney's place while he's still injured. Then, of course, Chris Lindstrom as well got in on all the action. And like I said, remember, this is not something that we need to, praise, but I do love to see that these guys are protecting their own. Now, how about some Falcons injury news? Because there were a couple of notable injury takeaways that you have to know about that happened from yesterday's joint practice. Now, before I get into that, my friends, I have to tell you about today's sponsor, and that, of course, is Factor. I have been planning a wedding all summer, so I have been very, very busy. And let me tell you, some days I do not have more than a couple of minutes to get a meal in. And that's where Factor helps me eat smarter with tasty chef-prepared meals that are dietitian approved and delivered right to my door. And now, with more than 65 weekly meals made for how I live on the go and what I like to eat, I've got even more ways to fit in a real meal wherever the day takes me. More variety, more meals. Choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp. Delicious at no extra cost. And personally, I love Factor meals, and I know you will too. You could also support your wellness goals. Enjoy even more GLP-1 friendly meals and new Mediterranean diet options packed with protein and good-for-you fats. You can savor global flavors now for the first time by trying Asian-inspired meats with bold flavors influenced by China, Thailand, and more. Eat smart at factormeals.com/FalconsChat50 off and use code FalconsChat50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code FalconsChat50 off at factormeals.com for 50% off plus free shipping. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. So, 10 Falcons players did not practice today. That doesn't mean that 10 players were injured, but 10 players did not practice, and those players are as follows. Of course, Darnell Mooney is the one that you definitely know was already out, but Jamal Agnew didn't practice. Clark Phillips didn't practice. Kobe Bryant, who we'll touch on here in just a second. Keith Taylor, Malik Verdon, Troy Anderson, Tyrone Wheatley Jr., Storm Norton, and Taquan Graham also did not practice. The newest injuries: Kobe Bryant, Taquan Graham. Kobe Bryant had a hamstring injury that he kind of sustained during yesterday's joint practice, and Taquan Graham, same thing, but this time not a hamstring, a calf injury. Raheem Morris talked a little bit about it, and he said it was unfortunate for both players. So it does sound like this is a little bit more than just a tweak. It is also something to keep an eye on. I feel like the injury bug is starting to bite the Falcons just a little bit, so you've got to take extra precautions now, which is where the fighting comes in, and that's why I said, like, you don't want to do anything stupid, because if you're already dealing with some stuff, especially like injuries, you don't want to aggravate anything worse than you already have. Quick little water break for you right now. Quick timeout. If you're ready for Titans versus Falcons this Friday, do me a favor, type me in the comments section. If you're going to be joining us for our live stream this Friday, and I know you need to pull up because we're going to have a blast, type me in the comments right now. How about we talk about some actual football being played, right? That's why you click into these videos. Ray McLeod making some plays. Ray making plays. That's so cornball, but I love it. Ray McLeod dusted Marcus Harris on a deep ball for a touchdown. Apparently, he was also one-on-one in man coverage, had a couple of shimmy shake moves, and just absolutely dusted Marcus Harris for a bomb of a play. So Michael Penix, clearly against the Titans, has been prioritizing the deep ball, which you love to see. Airing the ball out, making plays happen, because you just love to see bombs down the middle of the field. Another note that you need to know, some more quarterback news for the Falcons. Kirk Cousins apparently looked great in 11-on-11s. This isn't that big of a surprise, right? We know that Kirk Cousins is probably right now the best backup in the league, and it wouldn't be particularly close. So I'll touch on Kirk just a little bit later on what I expect to see from the Falcons against the Titans in this preseason Week 2 matchup. But Kirk looked great, comfortable in the pocket. Shoulder seems to be holding up just fine. I know for a fact he doesn't want to play for the Falcons anymore. In fact, Raheem Morris came out and said, if I were him, I wouldn't be wanting to play for the Falcons right now. And that's nothing against the Falcons organization. He just wants to start, right? He doesn't want to be a backup. He believes that he can still do it. And to some degree, I kind of agree with that, but it is Michael Penix Jr.'s team. Make no mistake about it. How about some Xavier Watts news? I feel like I talk about him a lot, but he did make a spectacular play today. Picked off a ball in the end zone for a touchback, which you love to see. He's making some plays, but same with DeMarco Hellams. Jesse Bates is an absolute dog, so I'm ridiculously excited about the state of this Falcon safety room. I said yesterday that if it wasn't the best, it might be top 3. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm going to contradict myself. It is number 1 in the NFL. With Xavier Watts as your kind of second or third option right now, you're looking pretty good. You're looking pretty good. Another major highlight that you need to know about today's joint practice, Ruka Robero and JPJ had some pressure on Cam Ward from either side, kind of flushed him outside of the pocket, and then he threw a pick to none other than Dee Alford, who got in on some action today. So good to see that he got himself an interception as well. But all the reports from Raheem Morris and also Falcons beat reporters are saying that Rook is having not only a great training camp, but this preseason so far, he's really shined. And speaking of things, and Rook specifically, that I want to see from this Falcons team, both on offense and on defense heading into this Titans game, is the defensive intensity needs to continue. You also need more attention to the run game, right? So the defensive intensity we saw week 1 against the Lions, they came out swinging. That's good. I need to see it again. The run game took a while to get going. Granted, you didn't have Bijan and you also didn't have Tyler Algier playing. That's fine. But I need to know that the third and fourth string guys can also start to create things in terms of making their own space, especially if the Falcons' second and third string offensive linemen aren't getting the job done. If Kirk does play, let Kirk cook. I need to see it because there is an opportunity and a chance that Kirk Cousins is the backup to the Atlanta Falcons for the entirety of the year. There might not be a team that goes out and trades for Kirk. So if Kirk is the backup and he does get in, I want to know that he's competent and capable to lead this team to the playoffs because that's the goal, make the playoffs. And, of course, the rookie edges who kind of, again, remember, I kind of backtracked on this. I don't want to say they had a slow night because they didn't, but they didn't light up the box score like we all thought they would that first week. So I want to see more schemes and designed ways to get them involved and get them their, productivity in the stat sheet from Raheem Morris. That includes Jalen Walker. That includes James Pierce Jr. But specifically from those two, I need to see them get schemed in to get back after the quarterback and maybe some potential TFLs as well. That is going to do it for us on today's episode of Falcons Today. A reminder to like the video if you haven't. If you have not subscribed to the channel, we are growing. I am brand new to the channel. I will be taking over as your full-time host for the duration of the 2025 season. I cannot wait to spend it with you. Until next time, Falcons fans, be cool.